See, now you're killing me because you're holding a cast.
And can Cliff walk up and grab that cast from you, like I know he wants to do?
Yep. You could actually see the 5 toes in it.
That's a great one.
You can tell it's fresh, too.
This was just casted yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yep. Still hasn't dried out yet.
Yeah. So what led to the casting of this thing?
A friend of mine, he was out fishing in a canoe, and he seen this figure walking in the water, and he started getting scared because this thing wouldn't go away. So it held him there out in the water for hours, and then he called me the next day. So I casted a couple of tracks. One turned out pretty good. The other one was too wet, couldn't cast that one.
I can't wait to see the exact spot where Don cast this footprint. But first, we're gonna talk to Sam, the guy who saw the Bigfoot that left this print.
This is where it happened.
Look at that lake.
A lot thicker cover than I originally had imagined.
This is probably the biggest part of the woods in our area. You got like 20 miles of square wilderness, no civilizations.
Inaccessible swamps.
Okay, well, if this is the spot, I want to hear the story directly from you. What happened? What were you doing? What did you see? Tell us the whole deal.
The plan was to come out and do some bass fishing in the lily pads right offshore here, and the fish were biting right away, and I was having a great time. So I cast it out again, and as I set the hook, my lure flipped through and went by me. And as I turned to look back, I caught something in the corner of my eye moving on the shoreline, and it kind of turned and faced me. It was definitely a big white creature. I was very, very excited to get out here, and I actually, you know, videotaped and I came upon some pretty good tracks.
Oh, do you have it here?
Yeah, I sure do.
Can we take a look at it, please?
Sure. If you want to just press play. I see some deer tracks and stuff down here. Oh.
Oh, there's a lot more water now.
There's some big tracks right there. Let's see. Holy. Somebody needs to get over here. Look at this, guys.
There it is. Look at that.
You see holes in that thing? I do, man. I'm freaked out, dude. And then to make it worse, there's that perfect print.
Thanks for meeting me out here. And it's snowing.
It is snowing. I tried making it up there, and it's snowed in. Can't get to the spot where it was filmed.
Oh, man. Well, you know, I didn't get a chance to really look at the video. I'd like to look at it, have you go into more detail on what you saw that day.
Okay.
Let's pop underneath the back of the Jeep.
Every year that I come up here, I find tracks. But I saw this asleep in the tree with my binoculars, pulled out the camera and then tried to focus in on it.
I can see what you're talking about. I see what you're talking about, where the eyes are and the nose and the head and where the shoulders would be.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a juvenile Bigfoot in a tree, asleep.
That's the only thing it could be doing. I mean, unless it's meditating.
Right.
So you said you were actually out looking for Bigfoot tracks.
Right, I found tracks, pulled out the camera, and...
Oh, wow. Dude, that you can just first glance, because that's a squatch. I can see clearly that is a Bigfoot track. The heel, little toe going to the large toe. That's not a grizzly. You can't see any claw marks in front. Just the classic squat-shaped foot. That's a nice print.
I was impressed by it. You know, the width is what gets me.
Right. I can see why you came back to this spot.
It seems like every time I come up to this area, I do find tracks.
You know, since this is the first snow of the year, now there might be fresh prints in the snow as we speak.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Do you have a spot that we could go look where you think there might be a good chance where they'd be cutting through, heading down slope?
Yeah, I do.
This video and track photo are pretty compelling to me. And I think we should use this bad weather to our advantage. Well, all right, I want to go check out this spot. I think they might be crossing down a low country and go look for some fresh tracks. With a fresh coat of snow in the mountains, it'll be a lot easier to track a Bigfoot. They're gonna be heading to a lower elevation, get out of this bad weather, and go look for some easier food. Well, it's plenty dark now, and who knows, with this first big heavy snow of the year, a couple squatches went in lollygagging up there, and now they're moving down. Hopefully we run into a squatch tonight.
That would be neat. That would be luck.
All right, let's start moving down the hill and try to get down a little lower elevation out of this snow. Squatching with George is great, man. This guy really knows the area. He's been up here over 30 years. He spends all his free time hiking around up here. I find inclement weather can be really good squatching. I mean, it's uncomfortable and it sucks, But the Squatches aren't used to people out there going, yeah, in storms. They think it's another Squatch if they're around. This is just a perfect spot. Hey, you said you've heard them speaking that kind of Bigfoot language before?
Yeah, one time I was coming over a hill, and just before I got to the top, and it sounded like two women talking at the same time. As soon as I got to the top of the ridge, it just dead.
I've heard that 5, 6 times in my life, and it sounds almost like people you can tell it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Squatching in the snow sucks bad. I hate walking in the snow. It gets everything wet and cold, and worst of all, it freezes the therm, and it just doesn't work anymore. We just can't use our Squatch knowledge to our advantage in these conditions. What do you think the Squatches would be eating if they were still up here?
Turkeys still run around here. You know, I heard once of this lady found mice wrapped up in grass.
Really?
Have you heard that?
No.
She had gone to pick them up, and there was a rock thrown at her hand.
Really? That's really interesting you said that, because people have seen them carrying like these balls made out of like big long marsh grasses and stuff, just looped around. It looks like a giant football or rugby ball. And I never even thought that there might be like some kind of meat source in there or some food. I learned something new tonight, that's for sure. That's something to keep my eye out for.
Yeah.
It's Trimble County where they're getting them, next to the Ohio River. It's all muddy soil, and that's where you're gonna find tracks that are gonna be easily castable and easily identifiable. So Rodney and Tom have a better opportunity for that reason alone.
I know that he's out in the woods a lot. Apparently he's been a Bigfooter for at least a little while. We need to find more about his background, his experience, and certainly about these casts.
Everywhere we go, we investigate alleged evidence of Bigfoot's existence. Footprint casts invariably are human, animal tracks, or some natural indentation in the ground.
Pulling up into Tom's driveway,
Hey guys.
How's it going?
I see two good old boys, baseball caps, a little bit of camo.
Hopefully they'll be able to offer some information that we can follow up on.
So we heard you guys got some tracks.
Yeah, we got some casts to show y'all.
That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
What is that, like a 17-incher?
Look at this one.
17.
That's the biggest one I've seen in the Midwest. So they lift up the towels and show all these casts. And the first thing I'm thinking is, wow, these all look kind of different, and they have different sizes. That's what you would expect if they're getting real impressions. The guys who are gonna fake things are gonna have a whole bunch of casts that look all exactly the same. These look like they really found them in the woods and they cast them. You can see the foot shape in most of these, some better than others, and a few of them are just mind-blowing.
This first cast I got in April of 2012.
That one actually came out not far from behind my house.
Yeah. It appeared like it might have slid on the side of the ridge. Considered, you know, it would slide in the mud. Third one, we saw something standing behind a bush. But it was so thick back here, the vegetation was, we couldn't get back down there. Well, the next day I got up and I said, well, I'm gonna take my four-wheeler and go back in there. I went back into that bush, and that's what I casted.
That's a beauty, man. I'd love to have one like that.
Well, the first thing that jumps out to me is the toe placement, of course. But Sasquatches have such flexibility in their feet that this configuration is fairly common in the data set of casts. I love that all 5 toes are visible. I mean, the last 2 are a little bit lost, but that pinky's not, which is really nice. And also, if you look very closely, the toes are actually impressed more deeply than the ball of the foot itself. All of these things are really nice indicators of a very likely real Sasquatch print. I can tell that Tom's been Bigfooting a long time because he casts footprints that most other Bigfooters wouldn't. And this one here is an excellent example. Most people would look at that and say, oh, there's nothing there. But he cast it, and it's a good thing he did too, because right there on one of the toes, dermatoglyphics. Fancy word for fingerprints, basically. Primates have dermatoglyphics and no other animal does. This thing was made by a primate. What's the most recent activity either of you are aware of in this area?
Well, These are 2 days old.
Oh, they're hiding them to the last minute. Wow.
Still wet, kind of.
Look at that.
That's a beautiful cast.
Look at that. Nothing about it throws red flags to me that these are faked.
With these prints here, we also had a bluff charge.
A couple of days ago, you had a bluff charge.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, we're in the right spot.
A large predator like a Bigfoot will make its presence known if people are intruding too deep in its territory. Usually it'll do it by screaming, but sometimes if you get too close, they'll charge through the brush and trees but stop short, and that's called a bluff charge. That means we're in a pretty good area for some Bigfoot action.
Can you get us into that location?
Get you close into it.
Nice, because that's definitely a spot we need to look around.
Well, what I know is that 2 days ago, there were these tracks that you cast when you got a bluff charge.
I recognize that bent palm right there.
Yep, this is where we were.
Okay, so Mike, we've seen this video, but can you run us through everything that happened that day? It was about 2 years ago?
Yes, 2 years ago in March. We were driving through the park like we always do and just looked out. There was a figure walking through that you could see with your naked eye very clear. Several other people were pulling over too, seeing the same thing. You know, further we got out there, we took some pictures with our iPhone and was able to get it in the picture.
So why didn't you think it was just a guy walking out there?
Because that's not what it looked like, and that's why we ran closer. Not very many people saw it that far out. If you were gonna hoax anything, you would at some point be a little closer to draw attention.
Of course, it's not impossible that a guy could have been out there in a costume, but of all the places we've ever been, that would certainly be the most crazy place to go out in a costume with so many alligators through that brush. But then Mike said something that really grabbed me.
And there were dead pigs everywhere.
Really? Like,
Yes.
Out there?
All over.
Stacy Brown Jr. just sent us a video from a witness named Mike Falconer. After we met him, he brought up something that really grabbed me.
And there were dead pigs everywhere.
really? Like,
Yes.
Out there?
All over.
Where are you seeing these pigs?
From where we're standing to that head of woods on the other side, clear across there,
And that's about a mile away.
I would say.
did you like inspect the carcass at all?
A little bit. But there were some pigs still alive with their front legs snapped off.
No, really? Broken clean off. Both legs
And-
are like
no,
one leg?
One leg and still alive. Hopping around on 3 legs because they would run from you when you'd walk across
And
there.
that's right where that figure was right out there. That's exactly what a Sasquatch would do, and it was right out in the same area where that figure was. Boy, that rang a bell with me because I know that's what Sasquatches do. I've personally found deer with legs broken in Sasquatch tracks nearby in several states. I've also heard stories of hogs with legs broken in the same circumstances. Sasquatches will break the legs of prey to immobilize them, and so they can come back and get them later.
It obviously could have killed it then. It might have just wanted to keep the meat fresh, let it wouldn't go far.
Well, it's gonna go and get some other ones, break their legs, so they still got some live, fresh things to
Right,
go back and
yeah.
eat.
Mike and Justin commented on finding all of these pigs, many of them dead, but some injured with broken or missing front legs. Immediately, Matt and Bobo are thinking that's a Sasquatch, breaking their legs so they can't run away. Whereas I believe it easily could be an alligator, because alligators are real animals.
You grew up around here.
My whole life.
Did you think that Bigfoots didn't exist at all before that incident?
100%.
100% what?
Do not believe that they exist, and I made fun of anybody who would ever talk about it.
And why were you so sure of yourself in that regard?
I spent my life in the woods hunting.
So you think because you hadn't seen one, then they must not be there?
That's how I did think.
I got no doubt. That was a Sasquatch. And plus, this is Miyaka. So many people have seen Sasquatches here. There's just no way that it was somebody out there in a costume. Far more likely that it was really a Squatch, just like everybody else has seen.